Loyalty is something invaluable, immeasurable, and simply irreplaceable. And when picking an evil minion for any of your nefarious plans, none defines loyalty better than that of the humble golem. And this particular golem is described with two things in mind: resilience and obedience. So, when you have an upcoming boss battle to prepare for, and need a CR11 monster to protect an area, thrash a battlefield, or simply never betray its orders, then you have found the perfect video. So listen closely, because today, I'ma teach you how to Dragonbone Golem. Like its name would imply, it is formed from the very bones of a dragon, woven together with adamantite wire, and finally reanimated with foul and very expensive magic. The Dragonbone Golem is flawlessly loyal, supernaturally durable, and hilariously strange for CR11. To cover the basics of a Dragonbone Golem, we'll talk about its strongest features very quickly. It has a crazy breath attack that turns flesh to stone. It hits in a cone, deals dependable damage, and can even affect targets multiple times even though they have made successful saving throws. There is a pittance attack being part of the standard multi-attack action, meaning that you can immobilize a player and whack them 2 more times at advantage if everything plays out perfectly. And lastly, it has a combination of unusual nature and magic resistance, which makes it extremely tough to deal with when using magical shenanigans. Now, this isn't to say it's a flawless creation. Far from it, actually. Its lack of flight makes it pretty worthless versus flying players. Its unwavering loyalty may actually blind it to the greater picture of battle tactics. And finally, its stats are quite low when compared to things like the Horned Devil, the Genie, or even its cousin, the Stone Golem. But I think with enough imagination and some generous interpretation, the Dragonbone Golem can easily jump from standard to deadly in the snap of a finger. So, like with every golem, the Dragonbone Golem has the potential to be something that can be recurred, remade, and often moved from mission to mission, making it a perfect obstacle for low-level parties to avoid, and a pretty solid boss fight once they finally hit that mid-level. But compared to other popular choice golems, such as stone, iron, flesh, and even clay, those golems all actually have abilities that are common to the golem family that the Dragonbone Golem is mysteriously missing. Things such as all of its attacks being magical, which they aren't. It having an absorption ability, which it doesn't. It has a lack of stats, such as its strength and constitution, being lower than average. It has no immutable form. It's not even immune to psychic damage, or even a second damage type for that matter. And to top it all off, it doesn't even have the Enrage feature, which is so iconic to the Golem family. And after looking around the Dragonbone Golem's sheet, it has a long way to go before living up to the legend of what its very bones were. So, let's talk homebrew, people, because just like upgrading your computer with new parts, the Dragonbone Golem is made to order. Let's focus on 3 main points for today's monster and evolve this nasty little golem from there. And remember, this is a CR11 monster. A small adjustment or tweak here or there is completely fine, but any major changes should more than likely increase the CR. Use the manual in the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide on page 273 to really accommodate these changes, but I would actually fully recommend watching a video about how to homebrew monsters a bit more in depth, with videos like DM's Lair covering a very specific one. Disclaimers and information links aside, let's jump in. First can easily be the origin, what materials and spirit this creature is made from, such as the dragon or dragons its form was created with. Second should be the golem's obedience, what it's ordered to do, and why this is important for contextualizing its weaknesses and strengths inside of your very own games. And finally, the Dragonbone Golem's golemness, its nature as a construct and its most amazing familial traits. The reason you introduce a Dragonbone Golem can simply be more important than actually using it. It can be a perfect way to reintroduce a downed young dragon the party trampled over in the early to mid-levels. It can be a catalyst for a cult who hunts dragon battlefields for their parts, aiming to make a single, super-powered golem. And my personal favorite of these, a perfect way for a much bigger, scarier dragon to not only kill its rivals, but to reanimate them for the perfect humiliation against its foes. Because when I see the Dragonbone Golem, I don't think that this is a monster that is perfect for team party killing. Instead, I see it as a focal point for telling a story. It's a stepping stone for a much bigger, brighter picture of your entire game. And I really want to hear more about your reasoning for wanting to play one in the first place. What history are you going to breathe into life for this monster? And why its presence alone will tell so much more of a story than just reanimated bones. Please, 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 if you run one of these, especially after this video, let me know down in the comments below. And speaking of things you can do, you can easily hit the like button, you could subscribe with a simple click, or go so far as to share this video with other people who are interested if it strikes your fancy. But, okay, regardless of shameful self-promotion, the Dragonbone Golem's origin is surely a massive milestone in making this monster work. I would recommend, once again, finding a reason to introduce it before running it. Sometimes a whole origin story can be a lot for one monster, especially considering that this is just a simple golem of all things. But believe me, the more you invest into this monster, the more you get out. Oh boy, and speaking of investments, boy howdy do you need a big one, because this is a ton of gold pieces to make one of these. A whopping 115,000 per ritual. It is a bit steep for even a massively successful criminal empire. But considering you need Dragonbone, adamantite wires, spell components, and a reliable spellcaster, it's easy to see where that cost goes to. But the description given about the ritual, and how it's actually accomplished, leaves a few problems and assumptions up in the air. So, off the rip, I would highly recommend giving the golem immunity to another damage type in relation to the type of dragon it is made from. The example here is that if it is made of black dragon bones, give it immunity to acid. I would go as far as to recommend, in addition to that immunity, you can even make it in a damage absorption, making the dragon heal from that damage type so you can really rub in the salt. But what's a golem and its parts without a good understanding of what it needs to do? What's the origin story you gave it have to do with what it's doing now? The command it's given is more important than anything else to the golem, making it a very rigid and straight-shooting monster inside of combat. It will do anything and everything it needs to do to accomplish the task at hand, making it awfully easy to outmaneuver and outwit on the battlefield. Especially considering that it has an intelligence of 3, the poor thing. Compensate for these weaknesses by making an order that is simple, but also suitable to the monster's strongest features. Some example orders are conditional orders, such as, fight this person until they are dead, or the sun rises. Giving a deadline is important for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's important for players who actually can't handle this opponent head-on without dying. It gives the game master a lot of wiggle room in case these upgrades you've tried are a little too much to handle. But it's also important for the preservation of the golem. Imagine giving the golem an order that it can't stop, it can't undo that order, so it continues to do that order over and over and over, getting stuck in a perpetual loop where the players can exploit it. It's too slow and far too stupid of a monster to change tactics, but it's more than capable of chasing and scaring a party into long-term submission. Not to mention, since it needs not water, food, or air, things like swimming, climbing, or hiding may not actually be enough to deter it fully. Finally, I would shift this conversation to the golem's gifts of combat. Its durability and skill set of pinning down a target before fully turning them into stone is a very deadly combination. Focus your command on something like, turn that guy into stone, kill the rest. Something like this allows the golem a level of strategy, giving it a prime target inside of combat, while it's able to actually focus its efforts on problem players at the same time. This command, if given in front of the party, actually changes combat dynamics as well. They know the rules of the game have suddenly changed, all the way from killing the monster quickly to protecting Stumpy the Cleric until the last man. Make it especially awkward for the party and target a rogue or wizard with that breath attack over and over, and see how long they can keep making con saves for. Giving an order that fits criteria is very important. You want the job done, but giving an order that fulfills a greater purpose while safeguarding the golem's weaknesses should be paramount on every situation. Just do your best. I'm sure my examples and the ones you give are going to have holes in them and flaws and exploits, but that's not the point here. The point I'm trying to make is just put a little forethought into your commands and it will pay off later. I promise you. And wrapping up this how-to, we can talk about the golem's, well, golemness. Remember always that golems are made first and foremost, so design them well by choosing extra spicy options, like metal plates welded to the bones, providing temporary armor increases until they break free. Tie massive lengths of bone and strange weapons along its tail to give extra reach, or maybe weird and wild damage types. Carve open a spot in the ribs for a spellcaster to sit comfortably, allowing the lucky lad a front row seat to cast spells all over the place from their new dragon wagon. Golems are created, designed, and painstakingly animated for a reason. Use this as inspiration to take it a step, or 30, further, and add in magical, mundane, or even malicious upgrades to your boss for the sheer fun of it all. And all I ask for in return is letting me know what you do with it. How it went. Did you kill anybody? Did you TPK? Did it completely backfire? Like, I just want to know what you guys are doing out there in your games. That's all I want. So when you finally unleash that golem on your troublesome party, just let me know how it went. And thank you so much for watching today's how-to. It's actually really satisfying molding a monster from standard to lethal with just a few paragraphs of effort. And the Dragonbone Golem in particular gave me a bit to chew on before I arrived at this final script. And yes, I know this video did run a little longer than the other how-tos, but I got excited once I really started getting into it, and I have a hard time putting on the brakes once I get excited. I know in particular, I recommended homebrew options a lot for this one, especially in the middle and the end, rather than exploring its base options, but hey, what can you do? This golem was so open-ended, I couldn't help but suggest some fun ways to break it fully. Just remember, you can find the rest of my content on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and all over the place if you want more evil plans, plots, and ploys. I'll see you around. You should definitely go check out stuff like the Sapphire Dragon and the Elder Brain Dragon. Both of those are very good for the TPK or Bust series. If you want a really funny one, I would actually go check out the Mimic how-to. It's one of my older videos, not as well edited, but I actually like the content of that one quite a lot. And I will see you later.